Little disclaimer before we start this video. This is not my best camera work. This is all old footage from 2-3 years ago that never got around to being posted. My camera work has drastically improved since then. Oh, and the sound and editing skills, so this is all old stuff, so whatever you see that you don't like in this, there's a good chance it'll probably never happen again. Like I say, this is all old footage, so I thought it'd just be fun to put up on YouTube here. But anyways, enjoy the video. These are some very old memories from not so great time for some of them, but I got my start to rail fanning, so let's go. This shot was April 2021, still right at the beginning of the SD60E reign on the D&H, with two SD60Es sandwiching NS1042 and the 1042 not having a logo. In June 2021, we barely made it to see this 30T with two CN locomotives for 4M power running all the way south to Binghamton. We're going to be bouncing around during time periods. We're still going to be in 2021 for the next one, as it's Mother's Day and 30T is coming south. The CN ET44 AC was a bonus trailing on this train. Sometime during the spring of 2021 is when I think this was filmed. Barely made it for another 32. For fans of the channel, you may be thinking, well, this is a northbound intermodal on the D&H, it must be 264. You're technically correct. However, before the 264 name came in June 2022, this train ran under symbol 22K. So here's NS 22K passing Tyler Street in Bainbridge.
Same thing with this next one. You probably think this is 265. Again, technically correct. Except before the name change, this train ran under symbol 23K. This was February of 2021. Also in February 2021, Johnson Street had an amazing snowbank that you could stand on to get a higher shot. Here's 16R when it used to run in the daylight coming north. The third engine in line is Pan Am Railways number 3405. The 3405 will be a common theme throughout the video as it will show up multiple times. In March 2021, I caught this NYSW SD40-2 idling in the yard. Behind it was an NS GP38-2. Another one in February 2021 was this 11R. The recently refurbished, at the time, AC44 C6M 4305 was still in fresh, shiny horsehead paint. Here we have another 16R, this one in January 2021, in the last bit of light, with an SD60E and a -9. January 31st, 2021, saw this 11R come south with an SD70 Ace and an SD70 ACC, and one of the first few cars is a wrecked tank car on a flat car. Another 16R. This one, again, saw 3405 trailing third of 3 on this train in the last bit of light. Still early on in the SD60E reign that an ES44 DC is allowed to lead. However, this Jevo had a faulty K5HL air horn. Here's a 16 in January 2021 with no EMDs at all. Well, here's a 16 that's split down the middle and locomotive manufacturers, an EMD SD70 Ace leading, and a GE ES44 AC trailing. Funny enough, these two engines went from 62 to 61. 1062 and 8061 were leading. There was a lot from January 2021. Another 16 with another G-boat leading. In December 2020, saw the biggest snowstorm I have ever seen in my life. The snow was about as tall as I am, and I'm about 5'10". At this time, the SD60Es seemed a little fishy, although we had not fully caught on that they would stay here permanently. The 60s had just shipped up here all together and had not been fully split apart yet on different trains. In 2023, it is rare to see more than one SD60E on the train. This 16 in November 2020 also saw an all-AMD lash up, just with no SD60E. A huge gap in the timeline. September 2020 saw this 16 come up. Me and my friend Robert were here at West Main Street next to the old D&H station. This train had a Pan Am SD40-2 trail. An even bigger gap for this next train. This one was taken April 2020. Yikes, right at the start of COVID. In May 2020, we had an 11R come to an emergency stop. I shared that video to YouTube. However, I never shared the 16R come up after the 11R went to emergency. This 16R would only be permitted to run at 10 miles per hour. From May 2020 to May 2021, here's another 16. This 16 had a former CSX-840CW trailing third. Former CSX too, but now acquired by Pan Am Railways. In June 2022, Pan Am Railways would be acquired by CSX. In March 2021, this 30T would come south. The second unit is NS-944CW number 9425. In 2023, the 9425 is undergoing rebuilding into an AC-44 C6M. Here's 22K at the beginning of the SD60 reign in February 2021. In 2023, the two SD60s in this video, NS6958 and NS6952, are still common and are still to be found on the D&H. In fact, the time I am doing these voiceovers for this video, I have seen 6958 and 6952, both of them, in the past 5 days. Here's another 16R in January 2021 with an SD60 e-meter for Pan Am 3405 is trailing second of 3. Here's that same lash up in February 2021. Except, don't be fooled, it's not the same SD60. It's 6952 this time instead of 6950. Here's another 16 from the same month, just a couple weeks later. All General Electric locomotives this time. 1 GEVO and 2 -9s. Take a look at the lead AC44 C6M. AC44 C6Ms usually get a fresh coat of horsehair paint, but whenever this unit was at the shop, it had its hood replaced with an old -9 hood, so it has the white stripe scheme instead of the horsehair. This is another clip from January 2021. This next one is late November 2020, right at the beginning of the SD60E reign. In fact, the first week of it. And again, in 2023, both SD60Es here, the 6959 and the 6953, are still common sights on the D&H. Here's a 30T in November 2020 with the mighty K5 LLA leading. In April 2020, this was a creepy foreshadow of the SD60Es to come. Unlike the 60Es that roamed through here in 2023, this SD60 was in the 7000 series. And the last lost footage from Bainbridge, New York of mine is this 16R. This was my first time filming at the old D&H station here in Bainbridge, New York. April 2020. Wait, did you guys think we were done? No. New York State can be nice, but I think we need to go somewhere more tropical. Don't you? In November 2021, me and my family took a trip to Orlando to get on the Disney Cruise Line. And while we were in Orlando, Brightline was under construction. The boat we were getting on also had some railroad art as well, as Disney has a history of railroads. But back to Brightline, Brightline was in the midst of construction at this time. This new line, which is going to connect the Orlando International Airport to the existing FEC main line through Cocoa, Florida. This line is brand new and will reach speeds of 125 miles per hour. Brightline has had help from CSX. CSX has been dropping off ballast trains and other masculinity trains to where Brightline will build the line. New bridges, new tunnels, everything has to come in. There can't be any railroad crossings on a 125 mile per hour line, so all crossings are avoided if possible. From Orlando to Cocoa, there are no railroad crossings whatsoever. You can see a lot of the right-of-way of Brightline's new line follows the highway here. Our night in Orlando was spent at Pop Century. Pop Century keeps a history going with railroads. Well, model trains that is. Here's a catalog from 1955 from Y&L. They upkeep a lot of their old trains and track and other things. But before we even got on the ground in Orlando, at the airport, there is action. I wouldn't say this is train action. Well, some of it, as the new Brightline line was also being built, and this is one of the ends of the line. This is the Orlando International Airport. I got bored sitting, so I took some footage of the people movers. These people movers don't run on rails. Instead, they have rubber wheels underneath the movers. Each car is connected just like a train, so it was good enough. So while waiting to get into Orlando and on the return trip out of Orlando, I just filmed these against the window.
Visit us again very soon. This is Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, and we hope you enjoyed your Orlando experience.
Here's a few rides on these things. During this ride, you'll notice not only the airplanes sitting idle, but we will fly over Brightline's new Orlando line. The trip only takes a minute to get from point A to point B. Here's that new line right now. Brightline trains will be coming in and out right here along this line.
Please stand clear of doors and hold on to the handrails. When the shuttle stops, please exit for gates 70 through 99.
This is phase 2 of the construction. Phase 3 will try to connect Disney or maybe Universal Studios. But right now, that's off in the future, and Brightline's focus is to get the Orlando International Airport section to Cocoa complete. And they're on track to do so by the end of 2023. In 2023, the first test trains have even launched, reaching up not only to 125, but to 130 miles per hour with brand new Siemens Mobility train sets. Here are some more of those people movers. This is a busy area with airplanes landing and the people movers on the move. And here's a ride from the other direction. Yes, it was COVID season, so everyone was wearing masks. I wasn't personally a fan. So instead of looking at the masks, we look at the beautiful outdoors of the airport, as Florida is a beautiful state in my opinion. One of the most beautiful if you ask me. Second to Alaska in my opinion. Here's the Orlando line once again. You can see maintenance of way crews off in the distance working on the main line. Thanks for watching the video of my lost footage. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I think this sunset is a fitting way to end the video. Till then, God bless, see you around the bend. We'll see you next time.